So by watching the videos, and a lot of people will say like, yeah, some of this stuff is like repetitive, and it's good that it's repetitive because you want for these concepts to be sort of muscle memory as a reflex. Okay, if I see students in reading at whatever age group, because special ed is EC, that means early child, through 12th grade. If you see ninth graders and in reading, you see that they're spelling phonetically, that maybe they spell, and this is an actual something. And if you go and watch the videos, you'll see a teacher saying, I am a current special ed teacher. My ninth graders, I noticed that they were phonetically spelling and that they were suffering in reading comprehension. They like literally couldn't comprehend on grade level text, seventh grade text, even sixth grade text. She realized that they were having difficulty decoding words, and their fluency obviously suffered. Now, all of the children have intellectual disabilities in that class. And so for her, the course of action based on all of her assessments, and there were myriad and over weeks, she is now going back to doing like second grade level phonemic awareness, second grade level building those skills. Because as far as ELAR and reading is concerned, the science of teaching reading tells us that those beginning skills, those foundational reading skills, those foundational reading comprehension skills, like in being able to infer and being able to sort of summarize, being able to having a vocabulary, being able to decode vocabulary in the reading so that it doesn't impede on the comprehension of the text. So we talk about several of these things via the videos with different people. And so I would say the best way to study is literally just to, like, even if you're going to be, just meditate with one of the videos, you know what I mean? Lay down and listen to it. You don't even have to read or follow along, just listening to the conversations that we're having and to the lessons that are being given. And if you want to engage in them, like, because I'm going to ask them to open the exam for you, so that you can get a date, but I don't want for you to test without meeting with me again for 30 minutes or whatever, because I want for you to choose a date and then really come to you use self-assessment. And this is a technique that we try to teach students, that you should be doing with your students. That is one of your standards, is getting the student to self-assess, to think about their thinking, to think about where they are in this skill that they need to have. And you know what skills you need to have. They're laid out for you in these standard documents, which will be laid out in great detail in the videos. So you need to assess your skill level when you're going through the practice questions, when you're listening to the ideas. If these ideas come second nature and you're like, oh yeah, this is what you should do next, and this is then you're ready for it, that you're and all you got to do is plan accordingly. So watch a couple of videos before you choose the date that you're going to test, because you'll know, okay, I'm ready for it. Because sometimes it's not an issue of, did you know the content area? Sometimes it's just, you didn't have the test taking strategies, or you're a bad test taker. And in that case, many of these videos, you could just watch one and be ready to take the exam, because you know everything content wise, and it's just a matter of knowing how to read the questions. So people who don't even meet with me, people who are not part of Teacher Builder, some of them pay $120 an hour, especially Texas teachers. Texas teachers does not support their teachers like they need to, and they haven't for very many years, because I've been teaching teachers since 2016. And so even some of them that don't meet with me, that can't afford to meet with me, because most of my time goes first choice to Teacher Builder, and I only have like on the weekends for other EPP programs to availability to help them. And so sometimes I just don't, because I want to be with my family, and you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't have time for that. So like many of them, I post these videos also to YouTube for them. So some of them just watch one video and they're like, thank you so much. This is all I needed to get me over the hump to pass the exam. So there's like, for special ed, we'll go and take a look at them. And then I'm going to give you a very short example, just because I still have COVID. So I still get like, one moment. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. You know, honestly, I think I work better with audiobooks because I'm more of an audiobook reader. So like you said, listening to one video or a couple videos, I think
Yeah, as you're driving into work, while you're stuck in traffic, while you're doing laundry, doing something that's mundane, like while you're going to bed, you know, get it, even as you listen to it as you sleep, get it in your subconscious, you know. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I'm in the middle of a session, but I will call you right back. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm in a session, but I'll call you right back. I'm super, super excited. I can't wait. Yeah. House of a Thousand Corpses. No, oh no, not that one. Not House of a Thousand. It has Chevy Chase and Demi Moore. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna think about it and I'll text you. Give me 2.5 seconds because my brain is doing special ed right now. I'm not on movie trivia. You like threw me a curveball. Okay. And this is being recorded for YouTube. So I love you so much. And I'll see you soon. I love you. My goodness. My senior daughter, ridiculous, wants to know the name of a movie in the middle of my thing. She's like, wait, don't hang up. Ridiculous. So oh yes, I'm trying to show you the gold mine that is here. And also I'm going to show you, remind me before we end this, other ways that you can get ideas while you're studying or preparing. Where am I going? Do you see it anywhere? Special ed. Oh, here we are. So special ed. And so I'm going to move this one down, but social emotional learning is very important. I'm just going to move it down a little bit.
Hi, how are you? That is available.
I hate listening to myself.
Which is fine
like,
because students learn from each other. And so they will help each other in learning from each other's and whatnot. And
we
so,
go into
yeah,
like deep detail, like this one.
For the PPR,
this one talks, and I go over the theoretical framework of pedagogy, right? Human growth and development that is normal. And I'll tell you, special ed has a double task. Not only are you guys required to know what is normal of human growth and development cognitively, social emotional, maturity, physical wise, you guys also have to know what is not on, you know, and be vigilant about those descriptors, those markers, and then know how to help a student that is cognitively, how to teach a student who is cognitively at this level, or, you know, and be able to support them so that they can still perform on grade level, because that's the task. And that's why sort of science of teaching reading came to Texas, really, because I started teaching in 2004. And at that point in special ed, and this is a little history lesson, in special ed, if a seventh grader was, for instance, I had several seventh graders that read at a second grade reading level. That was their cognitive reading level. That was their comprehension reading level. And so that you could get the modified exam, and you could also get them on their IEP where they test the second grade assessment at the end of the year. And at that time, it was the TOS test still. It hadn't changed to TAX. I'm dating myself a little bit, but oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize again. I don't know what is happening here. I think that's my Go CRM, and if I'm on the web, it'll do a call on the web. So I was talking about, it used to be that if a student had it written via the ARD, we got together, and you know what the ARD is, right? The admissions review and dismissal committee, right? And we gather, and it's made up of, you know, the principal or an administrator that's been assigned to it. Typically it's an assistant principal, actually, because they have more time. And so they get assigned that, the ARDs underneath their description. Anyway, the special education teacher that is assigned to the student, a general education teacher representative, and the parents. Those people have to be present there in order for that to take place, for the committee to meet. And so there's legality with it, specifics about what needs to be discussed, who needs to be there, how much time you need to give them notice of the date. You know, if they bring, let's say the parents bring a lawyer with them, that means that you have to postpone it, because it's so sensitive an issue, special education, as far as like idea, it's federally funded. It is a really big deal. It is against the law if teachers are not faithfully executing a student's IEP in order to support their education needs. And I know a lot of times, and it's just that parents just don't know, but like if teachers are not faithfully executing these things, like parents could really come, and the school would be liable. The teacher would be liable. It would be like it's a really serious thing. And so if the parents come in and they bring a lawyer with them, or even an advocate. So let's say my son or daughter has autism, and I'm going in for my, you know, yearly ARD, and I'm part of this, you know, community advocacy group for, you know, parents that have kids with autism, and the director will come with us to the meeting if we want, and just to make sure we get all of our rights and that all of the questions are asked. And because some parents don't know anything, and that is a good thing, you know, to have an advocate with you. But it also means that the district is going to postpone it, because they want to have representation to make sure we do not do anything incorrectly that would impede on the rights of the students, you know. And so that's something that we discuss in great detail in one of these videos. But now we are not allowed to test them where they are cognitively. So it doesn't matter if we've done a diagnostic exam. As my student who I met with this week said, I ran diagnostics and they're all at like second grade foundational reading skills. And I'm doing lessons and they're like, Miss, we know this. She's like, you don't, because you spelled table TABU. And that's not, you're saying it like it's like you're hearing it, but it's table. There's several other, but their phonemic, their letter sound correspondence is off. So because she cannot test them at a second grade level, it behooves her to go back and reteach what they need in order to get to a place where they can get better at decoding, where they can improve those skills as far as reading comprehension, so that they can be successful on that on grade level, because they're not allowed to test at second grade reading for the STAR. They have to test ninth grade reading for the STAR. So it is a really big ask, and it's a big change that just happened over the last 20 years. And so even our teaching style didn't change commiserate with the law. That just barely changed. And so listening to these, going through these is going to be really, really helpful. And you'll find that you're going to be, because on some of these we go through in a more methodical manner. And before I let you go, because I do have to go a bit early, I do apologize.
It's okay.
Before I let you go, I want to show you the Science of Teaching reading one. One moment, I'll get there faster. Because somebody said something. Okay, this one.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
By putting that
Hold
in to this is we now know as a result of these choices, which they pay them a lot of money to
sorry.
Annotation.
So I'm just going to go over the strategies, right? Just a brief overview. This
mindfully,
instead of talking over myself, this is a science of teaching reading, but science of teaching reading is think about the umbrella of special ed, and under the umbrella of special ed, you have like 504, you have dyslexia, you might even you have GT, you know what I'm saying? So there's lots of stuff underneath that umbrella. English language arts and reading, which you have to be very familiar with as a as well as with math, right? With the special ed content area, which is why special ed teachers should be like literally paid a little bit more. Like I really feel that, because you guys just have to know so much more. So do elementary teachers. Anyway, I'm digressing on my like political what teachers need to be paid, like because of what they do. Anyway, in the same way that special ed has this umbrella, English language arts and reading has an umbrella. And science of teaching reading is like, or think of it as like a continuum, right? Science of teaching reading is this super big bubble underneath the umbrella, but that is so freaking important. Like research over the last 30 years has shown us, scientifically replicated over and over, backed up with neurological studies and looking at the way in which the brain works. Like they have fMRIs that can show like functional MRIs. Like as I'm reading this part of the brain, this is ignited while we're doing these activities. We have gained so much knowledge, and we know now that if students have strength in foundational reading skills, which are is part of STR, and those foundational reading comprehension skills like decoding words, you know, sounding things out, learning morphemic analysis, like really learning morphemic analysis, breaking apart words. And before I leave you, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Doing that with the students so that they can move on and be able to do it in their mind in reading comprehension scenarios. So it's important for you, even though you don't really have to test, if you're doing like high school STR, it's a really helpful review and an added for you, because it's under ELAR. It's the first portion of it. It's the foundational portion of it. So I'm just going to do reading strategy, not reading strategies, the testing strategies really quickly. Do you have to leave right now?
Well, not necessarily, but probably the next
the
5
scenario,
minutes, 7 minutes. Good.
yeah, somewhere around there.
questions, and answer choices. Don't just read one at the answer choice A and say, oh, that's it immediately. They might have carefully crafted these answer choices, which they pay them a lot of money to do,
They do.
to draw you in based on your quick reading on the major keywords and phrases your brain honed in on automatically, and maybe skipped over the word before or the word after. And so you just automatically went and then you move on. Give each answer choice a mindful reading, meaning you are looking at the details and making sure that they matched the details that you identified as important in the scenario or, you know, the question. So mindfully read the scenario, questions, question and answers. Because I like to say the devil is in the details.
It is. Where's the like fast forward 5 seconds button?
Oh, good Lord.
Go to the settings.
The devil is in the details.
What the heck? Hold on.
So pay attention to the details, right? If they say before, if they give you a time marker, they say, what would you do first? If they say, what would you do third? It's important. That temporal or place marker is important as far as when we should do particular things, especially, you know, with the instructing students on how to learn to read. You know, we can't jump in to teaching them, you know, reading of words if they don't even know what the sounds and the letter sound correspondent.
And so that was one of the problems that my intern that I met with this week, is that she couldn't help them decode words on their own because they lacked foundational skills. And so regardless of their skill level or need, we have to meet them where they're at and build those build from assets, from their assets. What can you do right now? Okay, let's start from there and move forward and build. So I will also send you the Science of Teaching reading list, or if you could just go to the playlist yourself, I'm sure you can remember to go to the playlist yourself to find those videos, because they are incredibly good reviews. If I were you, I would go and listen to the one dealing with ELAR 4 through 8, because it's going to be a review of English language arts and reading, at least 4th grade through 6th grade. And I do have some that are EC through 6. And so that's covering those TEKS and those standards and those sort of things that you need to be able to do with them. Last but not least, as you're reading through your standards and you're doing a deep dive, if you come across, something or a question, or even in your own classroom, but people can really prepare and get ideas and examples of like phonemic. Oh wait, that's not the one I wanted to do, but that's a really great one. Where is it? Here. Morphemic analysis. So like, and this would be something you would use with your, if you had 9th graders that couldn't read new words, you would want to do activities where they built words and played with existing words so that they could get a better understanding of one of these early foundational reading skills that clearly they don't have. And so this makes it a little bit more fun for whatever reason, because you could put these different prefixes, suffixes, and root words on a worksheet and have them like put them together. They would learn less from that activity, sitting there with a worksheet, circling things, or even like they just would. If you gave them, and even if you gave them pairs to work with, tell them to make their own word up and write the definition based on the different words, so that they begin to understand that individual word parts, morphemes, carry meaning. Once they play in this activity, which is super differentiated instruction and an excellent activity to do root words, even sentence building, because you could put whole words on this and have them do grammar, and syntax as well. So this is such a ridiculously great, Pinterest is an underrated goldmine of resources for literally everything. Every TEK that you have, that you can have, every skill that the student needs to learn, from calculus to theater to PE to Science of Teaching reading to special ed, it's all here. And like, teachers are amazing. They're the real MVPs, because this is just some lady who posted, some hardworking teacher who does this and was like, let me just put this up here so I can show everybody. And now this, and you can do this with your students if need be, and it will be an incredibly effective tool for students to improve their ability to decode words on their own, and your ability to help them be better at reading comprehension. So utilize these resources. I will tell them to open the exam. Text me when you have the date. I just remembered the movie. I'm so ADHD. Ridiculous. Sorry. Nothing but trouble. I'm ADHD. So like, and I don't take medicine. So it can't be helped. Nothing but trouble. So the whole time I was talking to you. And so as a special ed teacher, this is something that you'll have to deal with your students, because it's incredibly disruptive. Like, I was talking about something else and I just said, nothing but trouble. Oh my God, she texted me too. Nothing but trouble. She remembered. She's ADHD also. Her brain was working on it. Nothing but trouble. I just sent it. I remembered it before I read that she sent it to me. So your students might be like, oh, you asked me something yesterday and I'm responding to you right now, so you might have to redirect their stuff if they interrupt your morphemic analysis thing with something you were talking about yesterday in a different subject area. That's just the way that their brain works. They're not trying to be off topic or be rude or anything like that. It's just their brain is literally trying to accommodate you while also functioning in another way. So that's the end of my session for you today. Thank you for my TED Talk.
You.
Teachers sometimes, I was undiagnosed, so I just literally overcompensated as a child. They weren't as vigilant, and people weren't as knowledgeable as we are now. And it's really not like a disability. It's sort of a superpower. Like my brain was doing a back functioning task simultaneously. So that's what I tell my special ed kids, you know what I mean, that have ADHD. I tell them all, like, I have ADHD. And that for some reason makes them feel better or not. So you have a beautiful rest of your day, and let me know your test date, and then use that link, that Calendly link to reschedule or whatever when you just and we don't even have to meet for a long time. Like if you watch some of the videos and you're like, I am good to go with what I saw, then that's just it. Like that's just the end of it. I just want to make sure I talk to you and you get all the support you need before you test.
Thank you so much. It was really informative.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.